everybody, it's me, GhostCritic, and if you're a loyal viewer to my channel, you will know that Monday is question of the week day, where I pose a comic book related question to you all out there, which you respond to in the comment section below, and then you get to ask me questions which I will respond to in next week's video. Same every week. Go back and see some of the videos. I think I've made a playlist of these now, so go and check on my channel page. This week I'm kind of trying to get my revenge because the questions you all posed last week, oh my god, did I struggle with them, and I had to try and get my own back some way. And so I'm giving you a Sophie's Choice type of question. For those of you who don't know what Sophie's Choice is, it was a book that got turned into a film regarding a woman. It was set in Auschwitz, and she had this impossible task of choosing between her children. One was she could take one of the children away and it would live, and then the other child would be killed. Horrendous decision to make, but this is the position I'm going to put you guys into this week. Only your babies are of course the publishing comic book houses, DC, Marvel and Image. Now, because there's three of them, I'm going to give you three options. So you have to choose between those three. Which lives, i.e. it just continues on and is clearly going to be your favourite publishing house. One dies, and one is cryogenically frozen for 50 years. Once it's defrosted in 50 years time, it is in exactly the same position as it is right now. So, which lives, which dies, and which is cryogenically frozen? That is your question this week. Now on to yours. Thank you very much for everyone who participated. These seem to be getting harder and harder every week. So they were all really great fun. I struggled with a few of them, but I took the challenge, went with them, and here are my offerings. Starting with Sleepy Reader 666, Damien, thank you for your question. He asked me, if you were in the Fantastic Four, which member of the team you would be. I'm cheating a little here because he wasn't specific and didn't say original Fantastic Four, and there have been lots of different members that have come in and out of the Fantastic Four throughout its run. So I'm going to be Franklin Richards. He has this, okay, it's dormant most of the time, but he has this psionic power that rivals that of the Celestials, and they're like practically the most powerful forces in the Marvel Universe, so I'd be super powerful. Mercy's Little Show, she asked me, how do you feel about people from other parts of the entertainment industry coming into comics and writing them? I guess I'm fine with it in some respects. There is obviously comparisons to be made between kind of TV and film writers, particularly TV writers, and that of comic book writers, because they are writing this kind of episodic story, which you would hope, given that it would span episodes or issues, would have a start, a middle, an end. Maybe at the end you've got the cliffhanger for the next series, the next story arc to continue on. I do, however, think they use a lot of TV writers purely for, oh, look who we've got on this book, and not necessarily for their kind of writing chops, so to speak. So I'm okay with it. It's the same. You could get someone who writes fiction. China Melville, he wrote, which one was it? It was Dial H, wasn't it? I think it was. He wrote a lot of those. Was it really good? I don't know, because I kind of dropped it. I know a lot of people liked it. But he came from the kind of novels. He was a fiction writer, kind of sci-fi stroke fantasy almost, of the genre. So, I mean, it just depends really on the writer and what they can bring to the table. I'm not against it, but like I said, I think they try and use big names to draw new people in who wouldn't normally look at a comic book. Okay, T-Bird, formerly T-Rex, she asked me, what's your favourite animal, and if you could do a comic with it, what would it be? Who'd be the villain animal? Oh gosh. Okay, I'm very much a dog lover, though I've never owned a dog. I was never allowed one when I was younger. Every time we could have almost got one, something, you know, happened to stop us from getting one. Of course, as soon as I left home and made it out in the big wide world on my own, what did my dad do? He got himself a dog, a gorgeous German Shepherd called Xena. Loved her to bits, but of course wasn't my dog. So I've always wanted a dog, and I'm a huge dog lover. So I want to try and do, say, in the kind of Garfield kind of concept of it, in the kind of newspaper strips. I don't want to make a huge comic book out of this, but I would kind of pick one of those really kind of excitable and kind of energetic kind of Jack Russell dogs. And the premise is, and I'm going to kind of mess with your question just a little bit, the villain isn't going to be another animal, it's going to be the dog's owner. And it's this little Jack Russell Terrier's idea is to try and get its owner to play with him as often as possible and keep him entertained, but his owner is a real kind of lazy couch potato type of character. I hope that's okay for you, T. Now, the first one I struggled with a lot, was a lot of fun, but I grabbed it by the balls and I went with it. So it was from Howler Mouse. It was an amazing question. Can you name 3 to 5 comics and relate a song to each one, a la soundtrack for each book? Oh boy. Okay, so I took it on 5 books I picked. Let's get the stack out. To be honest, if I'm ever reading comic books and stuff like that, it has to actually be quiet. I can't have anything else on in the background because I find it far too distracting. So this was a struggle in itself. However, I did it. These are my 5 choices. We're starting with DeConnick's Pretty Deadly. And I'm going to go with a Fiona Apple song called Criminal. Now I picked this one, it's a big favourite of mine of Fiona Apple, I love the artist. But it has this very dark element to the song, but the piano behind it kind of reminds me of, you know, when you watch westerns and you go into the bar and there's a piano player in the background, and that kind of style of music that they would play in the western. There's a certain element of that into there, and also obviously the lyrics, a few of the lyrics we can kind of compare in the book. Listen to it, you'll pick up if you've read Pretty Deadly. Had to put this one in. We're having another look at, yes, it's Day Tripper. It's Fabio Moon and Gabriel Barr's fantastic book. And this one, you may not necessarily like this type of music, but I think it has the same kind of feeling and tone to it. But if you know the artist called Heather Small, she was the lead singer of a group called M People. She did a song called Proud, and it is all about very kind of life-affirming, you know, what have you done today to make yourself feel proud? And it just gives you that kind of life-affirming, let's go out and do something new, take risks, you know, be big and bold with your life. So that is for Day Tripper. Watchmen. Now, I just thought, you know, Howler Mouse Tim, he's a huge fan of Watchmen. I'll throw this in, but what song could try and emulate what's going on here? And I actually thought Queen's Who Wants to Live Forever. Now, I'm not going to say the lyrics, but if you listen back to the lyrics of Who Wants to Live Forever, it certainly has kind of comparisons to what goes on in this book. The idea that you are not what you used to be. You know, we have all these retired superheroes. People don't care about you anymore. They only remember you from one moment in your life. Just listen to the song on its own. You don't even have to be reading Watchmen with this. But I think there are some very poignant kind of comparisons in the lyrics to be made for Watchmen. Something a little bit more light-hearted now. I've picked Chew, and of course what goes with Chew but Weird Al Yankovic's Eat It. What else could it be? I had to put something humorous in here because the next one is super depressing, so bit of fun there for that one. Finally, Stray Bullets. I just picked this one out. It could be any issue of Stray Bullets, but because of its kind of very downbeat, depressing kind of content, this is the most depressing song I know, though it is fantastically realised by this artist. It's Johnny Cash singing Hurt. Again, go back and listen to this song and it's just, it seriously drains you, but it's just so well realised by Johnny Cash that it was the only song worth putting with this. So there you go, Tim. He did it. 5 songs for 5 books. Let's move on. Sherpanaut, he responded to me and asked, you're starting up your own comic book company. What do you name it? And which 3 comic book artists and writers do you hire straight away? Okay, I'm calling my comic book company Ghost Graphics. It's GhostCritic. It's got to have my name in it somewhere. So 3 writers, Snyder, Lemire and Remender. Artists, once the ambulance has gone by, Graham, Clunan and, oh yes, Matteo Scalera. So yes, Brandon Graham, Becky Clunan and Matteo Scalera. There are my soup team. Parker Rizzo asked me, do you think DC will make a mess out of their attempt to do Suicide Squad, throwing in all those characters? I had to look this up because I didn't really know very much about it. And while I can see a few kind of big names, they do seem to be going for a lot of unknowns or kind of say under the radar actors. I guess with it being a Suicide Squad, you know, you're going to have to throw in a lot of characters. What worries me is that they're not characters that are, you know, well known to a larger viewing audience. Of course, as comic book readers, we're going to know these characters, but I feel in a film with all these in, there's going to be a lot of setting up, explaining who these characters are, and this could be to the detriment of the actual film and kind of decent enough storyline to it. However, anyone who knows me, I don't really care about these films as much as many other comic book readers do. I've said before, I'll get round to watching these. I won't rush out to the cinema to go and see them. But good luck to them. We'll see what they can do. Oh, Jess S, why did you ask me this question? I hate these questions. She asked me, and it was totally un-comic book related, but I'm fine. She asked me, what characteristic about yourself do you think is your best and worst quality? Okay, my best quality is I like to think that I'm a very kind of supportive person. If I can help anyone out in the smallest or biggest way, I will do my utmost to do that for that person. it's always hard saying, you know, the nice things about you. I can ream off a lot of my bad characteristics. I'm a very impatient person. I always want things to be done yesterday, not in a few hours. If you saw me watching me upload my videos and seeing many hours there are to go till a really long kind of half-hour video gets uploaded, oh, I'm almost crying. Broadband internet here is still incredibly slow, believe me. And also, I'm the kind of person that puts a lot of things off. I'm easily distracted. A little kind of sneaky thing, I probably shouldn't tell you this because it might not even happen, but I have this kind of huge time-consuming YouTube project I want to do for December, and I kind of started on it, but it's just, oh, there's a TV program I want to watch, oh, there's comic books I want to read, and I really, really want to do this, but it's taking up so much of my time, and maybe I shouldn't have told you about that. Finally, last question of the week, Mr. Chupacandre asked me, the human resistance has sent you back in time to destroy either Batman or Spider-Man. Who would you choose? Oh God, I'm going to get in so much trouble. Whichever one I pick, I'm going to pick to kill Spider-Man, because we can have one of his clones become a new Spider-Man, so we won't get rid of him in the end anyway. Nah, got you! And that's it for this week of comic book questions. Thank you everybody who asks me questions. I have a lot of fun with them. They give me lots of head-scratching moments, but as you see, I get there in the end. So don't forget to answer the question I pose right at the top of the video, and if you want a burning comic book related question posed to me, then put that in the comment section down below and you'll get it answered next week. You get a bit of a shout out at the same time. Until next week, I'll see you on Wednesday. Bye bye.